All right, profit functions. So this is how we make money, right? Profit is good. Profit is the revenue minus the cost. Revenue minus cost. Okay, the wholesale price is the price at which the business sells a product or service in bulk to other businesses. Okay. The retail price is the final price that consumers pay for a product they do not intend to resell. The amount added to the cost of the price of the goods to cover the overhead profit is the markup. So you know how like you go to like Costco and like you buy like candy there and then you go to your concessions for like some sport or whatever and then they mark it up? That's what this is talking about. Okay. I just work here. Okay. Retail price is the wholesale price plus the markup. Okay. So you would add those two things together. So let's see an example. Also, I got like 30 minutes of sleep last night, so I apologize in advance for anything that comes out of my mouth. So, a school supply company sells pencils for $2.50 per box. A local school buys the boxes and resells them at their school with 120% markup. What's the dollar amount for the markup? So what we're going to do is we're going to take how much it costs initially and we're going to multiply it times that percent. So 250 times 1.20. Why is it 1.20? Why is it 1.20? Remember, we move it two decimal places. So that would be 1.2. Yeah. Okay. When you do that, what'd you get? Yeah, you're gonna have to do math today. Go ahead and pull out your Desmos thing. Yo. What'd you get? Three. So it's $3 to mark it up. Now, the retail price is found by taking the wholesale plus the markup, which is 550. These jokers bought pencils for 250 and they gonna sell them to you for 550. And they making $3 profit every time they sell it. You know what sucks though? You buy it. You don't have a choice. You don't have another option, right? I mean, I guess you could buy it wholesale, but you got to have an insider. Okay. Company sells boxes of tissue for $5 per case wholesale. Hey, make sure that you're paying attention to what the words actually say. Now, there are 10 boxes of tissues per case. A local retailer sells individual boxes with a markup of $1.78. So really quick, we got a case of tissues and they have 10 in total. This entire case is $5. How much is one box? How much is one box? If 10 is $5, how much is one? 5 divided by? There you go. Okay, so 5 divided by 10 gives us what? 50 cents. So each box of tissues is 50 cents, correct? Everybody see it? Now, they did a markup of $1.78. So we're going to take 50 cents, which is how much each box costs, plus the $1.78. So that's going to give me $2.28. Did everybody see that? With what? I did retail price, the formula for retail price. Retail price is wholesale plus markup. Wholesale plus markup. Good? Question so far. Okay, stunned silence is very assuring. All right. Can you try the next one? Or at least read the next one. Read the next one. All right, a store buys t-shirts at $5.50 per shirt and sells them for a retail price of $12 per shirt. So we went from $5.50 to $12. How much is the markup? Well, if we take 12, which is what they sold it for, and we subtracted how much it initially costs, that's going to give me $6.50. Okay, what is the markup as a percentage? So the way that you're going to do this is you're going to take the markup value divided by the wholesale and multiply by 100. So 650 divided by 550 times 100 is what? 650, which is what we just found, divided by 550 times 100. Good. See it? Any questions? Now, when revenue is greater than cost, your profit is going to be positive. Positive. If revenue is less than cost, that means you're not selling anything. Then profit is negative. This is what we call is a loss. So there's profits and loss. Loss is I bought all this stuff, but I didn't sell anything. So you didn't make anything off of it. You spent money. You lost money, right? If I buy a bunch of stuff and I sell it and it like all goes out and I make a profit, that's going to give me a positive revenue, right? Positive profit. Gucci? Flip page. And don't freak out. It's not that bad. Meow, meow. Huh? It looks crazy. It's not bad. I'll do the first one for you. Yeah, that 30 minutes of sleep is not no bueno.
I remember one night I only slept for some.
Believe that. Been there, done that. Max Potts Toys has a new doll, Algebra Annie. That'd be wild. Okay, and are trying to determine the best price to maximize profit. They estimate the revenue to be that equation and the cost to be that equation. So we're going to fill this junk in. So let's say that the price is $0. The revenue would be 50 times 0 minus 0 squared. If we plug that into our calculator, we get 0. Yes? If we plug in 0 into our cost equation, 350 plus 5 times 0, that's going to give me 350. If we plug into our profit equation, that's revenue minus your costs, that gets me negative 350. We had a loss in this scenario. Good. Now, if you're not so solid on the whole, like plugging it in to the equation, Desmos is your best friend. Yay. Go to Desmos. And you're going to type in the two equations that are up here at the top. So you got 50 x minus x squared. Oops. And then you've got 350 plus 5x. Okay, so I typed the two equations in. Now watch the math. You hit the gear, click on the first one, you hit the gear button, you hit the table. And then you're going to type in all the numbers that you need. So like 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, etc. Then you're going to come down here. And for this one, you're going to click on the little blue, hit the gear button, hit the table, and type in your numbers that you need. 0, 5, 10, 15, all that way. Okay, that will get you the first two columns. Yes. The third column is you just subtract those two. Can you fill in the rest of this table? Okay, go ahead and take a moment. Go ahead and work on that. Cool. All right, so here are your numbers. Okay, so make sure that you have that list checked. Okay, because that's gonna help us with answering the questions down below. Okay, so at what price does revenue equal your cost? So that means that with your profit is going to be zero. That's what it's saying. So when does that happen? At $10 and $35. Okay, so down here.
What does that mean that the revenue equals cost?
That means that revenue equals cost. That means that your profit is zero.
Not going up.
Profit is zero at 10 and 35. Everybody see it? Cool, good talk.
It's online.
No, this is how I record all your lessons.
Oh, you're.
Like once we did like COVID and everything was Zoom, I just like recorded all my lessons from like ever since then. It did help. All right, so for what price is this profit positive? Looking at the last column, which ones are positive? It's in between 10 to 35. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so 10 to 35. Not including 10 and 35, but like in between those two numbers, you're going to have a positive profit. Okay. Which one has the maximum revenue? So look at the revenue column. What price does the function have a maximum revenue? Yep. So what is the cost? The cost would be $475. You're just reading it literally across. And then the profit is $150. Does everybody see where I'm getting these numbers from? Okay. All right, here's the crazy part. What price does the function have a maximum profit? So look at your profit. Do you see how you've got 150 and 150 repeat on your table? Halfway between that is going to be your maximum profit. Okay, because remember, we've got a parabola with a profit. And so if it's 150 and 150, the maximum profit is going to be up at the top. So maximum profit is going to be where it's at 22.5 because that's halfway between 20 and 25. Look at your table again. Look at your profits. It's 150 and 150. Halfway between that is going to be your maximum profit. Now, what is the revenue at this price? Well, we can figure that out by using our formula that they give us up at the top. We're going to plug in 2250 into this formula. Did I lose anybody? Revenue, they give us the formula up at the top of the table. Take 2250, plug it in. Plug it in, plug it in. You should get something like 618.75. For the cost, you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to use 350 plus 5x to plug in. And when you do that, you're going to get 462.50. So what price should they sell? They should sell at 2250 because they maximize the profit. Profit is a good thing. Profit is we made money. Yes? So they should sell at 2250 because it maximizes the profit. We don't want to necessarily maximize our revenue. We want to maximize our profit. Okay? Questions? Okay, so here's our graph. So we've got r of x, which is the quadratic. The cost function is the straight line, right? Okay, so if you have your cost over your revenue, then that's going to be a loss. Okay, so on your paper, you're going to put loss in this little section and then loss in this little section. Okay, because cost is bigger than your revenue. That's no bueno. We lose money. If your revenue is bigger than your cost, that is what we're going to call profits. Okay, better. Okay. Then where they cross over, that is your break point. That's your break even. That means that your cost and your revenue become equal. Can you label this one? So you should have profit here, loss here, and break. Good. Questions? See, I told you it wasn't even that bad. Right? All right, flip page. So let's put all of that in like word form. Okay, so put that in word form. So on a graph of revenue and cost function, there's a profit where revenue is greater than cost and loss is with cost is greater than revenue. Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna put it on there in a second. Okay. So on a graph, revenue and cost. Profit happens when rev is greater than cost. Okay. A loss is when cost is greater than rev. Break even is when your revenue equals your cost. Good. Maximum profit occurs when revenue and cost minus cost is the greatest. So revenue minus your cost is the greatest. Good. This is the distance between the graphs. Between graphs. Questions? Okay, on a profit function, that was the graph on the right-hand side. When the profit is bigger than 0, that is an actual profit. When the loss happens, that's profit is less than 0. Break evens is where profit is equal to 0. And the maximum profit occurs when the profit function has a maximum. Take a second catch. John travels and takes pictures of old boats, which is weird, to sell in his online store. His fixed costs are $800. His variable costs are $450 per picture. He estimates the demand function as Q of X equals 300 minus 15X. Okay, yesterday we talked about how revenue. Ooh, I'm blanking. Okay, so we talked about Q being the quantity, right? What was Q times the price? What did that equal yesterday? Look back at your notes. It was the first one we learned. That's revenue, right? Revenue, that was right, is quantity times your price. Yes? Okay. And we learned yesterday that C of Q is equal to A plus B times Q. We also learned C of X is equal to A plus B times Q of X, where you plug in what X is, right? Those are the 3 things we learned yesterday. Yes, you'll be given them on your test. Okay, so let's go ahead and create this. So C of X is found by taking your fixed cost. What's your fixed cost? His fixed cost is 800 plus how much does he sell the things for? 450. And then we would need to plug in Q of X. So 300 minus 15X. Remember, whatever the X or whatever the variable is inside of the parentheses, that's what should be in your equation. If it says Q, then there needs to be a Q in there. That makes sense? Great. Thanks for the feedback. Really quick though, this is probably not going to be an option on your multiple choice test. You have to distribute and simplify. You learned that back in like 6th grade, 8th grade. Remember, we distribute and then we combine like terms. Take a moment, see if you can do that. Multiply, combine like terms. Okay, when you combine like terms and simplify and do all that jazz, you're going to get 2150 minus 67.5x. With me? Okay. Again, sun silence is very reassuring. You should have multiplied these two things together and then added it to 800 and then multiplied that 450 times negative 15x, and that's what you get for 67.5. Yes. Yes. Yeah. All right, so what is the equation for revenue as a function of price? So we're going to take our quantity, this equation, and multiply it times x. So x times 300 minus 15x. Again, we've got to make sure that we multiply this out. Okay, when we distribute that, we're going to get 300x minus 15x squared. Okay, so these are two separate equations, this guy and this guy, right? Now, what is the equation for profit as a function of price? We're going to take our revenue and we're going to, C of X and revenue and subtract the two. So that's going to give me 300x minus 15x squared. And then we're going to subtract, notice how I'm using parentheses, my C of X, which is 2150 minus 67.5x. You're going to distribute that negative and then combine like terms. See if you can do it. Remember how I said, how good were you at algebra? Here you go. Okay. All right, so negative 15x squared plus 367.5x minus 2150. What is the minimum price John must sell his pictures to make a profit? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this equation and we're going to graph it in Desmos. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Do you ever feel like the world just needs a little bit more elevator music? Yep, I definitely need to go sleep. All right. When we zoom out, what is the minimum? I'm going to get rid of this real quick. What is the minimum amount in order for him to make a profit? Remember, for him to make a profit, it's got to be above the x-axis. So what is the minimum number? Right there. Okay, so we're going to say 9.66. Going to be his minimum amount. 9.66. Okay, what's the maximum he can sell? So where does it end? 14.84. 14.84. Yes. Question. Don't just write numbers down. I need you to understand what's going on. Okay. Now, what price should John sell his pictures to maximize his profit? If we're trying to maximize the profit, we're looking at the Y values to be the greatest. So we're going to zoom out, go up here to the top. What's the X value on that guy? 12.25. So if he sold it at 12.25, then he would maximize his profit, right? Okay, so you're talking about, sorry again. It's going to be 12.25 for the cost. And then you're saying for the Y value, it's going to be $100.94 to maximize his profit, right? Yep. Yep. And then how many pictures will he sell? How do we figure this one out? Everybody always forgets this equation. At the beginning, they told us what Q of X was. What was the formula? Extra paper. $300 minus 15x. And so on this one, we're going to plug in 12.25, and that'll tell us how many pictures we got to sell. Type it in, type it in. I got like 116. Is that what you got? Can't have half a painting. So 116.25, we're going to round down. Good. Round down because it's closer to, it's less than 4. You're scaring me with your stunned silence. No. Yes. Nate. The quiz on this, November 11th. So, 11. We'll review. You know how that goes. Okay. All right. Take this equation, and I want you to figure out why would they refuse to give him a loan, besides the fact that they're trying to sell chocolate Brussels sprouts. Don't even react to that. They're trying to sell chocolate-covered Brussels sprouts. That's nasty. Ron, you good, babe? Okay. He visits a venture capitalist to get a loan. After looking at his expenses and potential revenue, then he calculates this equation. Graph this and tell me why won't they give him a loan. Graph it. Graph it. Why won't they give him a loan? Besides the fact that it's a dumb idea. Does homeboy ever cross the x-axis? So what does that mean? He never makes a profit. Would you give somebody a loan if they never make a profit? No, because that means that you don't get money back. Does it cross the x-axis? No, don't put P equals. Just put the equation. But he never makes a profit, so they're not going to give him a loan, right? Flip page. So I know that we notoriously suck at doing graphs. I get it. I hear you. So I want us to take a little bit of time and practice reading graphs and answering questions. So on the next page, I want you to take about 10 minutes to kind of go through these, and then we're going to go over the answers in just a second, okay? So take a moment. You're working on A, B, C, D, and then those 3 questions at the bottom. You should be able to do majority of that. We're going to estimate the break-even point. So that's going to be like here and here. This is roughly like about 12. And then the other one's about 40. If you said roughly around those numbers, that's okay. Okay. Estimate the maximum revenue. Okay, so that's going to be right in here. That's about 625-ish. Because this is going up by 100. Okay. Because this number right here is about 12. This one is on 40. Now find the points at which no revenue is made. That would be here and here. That would be 0 and 50. Okay, this is the part where you probably struggled. The maximum profit. Profit is the difference between revenue and cost. So from here to here, what is the difference? That's about 200. So like 625 minus like 425. Again, it's like predicting and estimating. So okay, these three graphs. Okay, which graph never has a profit? So which one doesn't have above the x-axis? I'm sorry, which one never has a profit? Doesn't have revenue over the cost. So cost is the straight line, revenue is the curvy line. So B never has a profit because revenue is never over cost. Which graph has the greatest maximum profit? So the biggest distance between revenue and cost. That's going to be A, because this is the profit that you make. Which one has no variable costs? This one, because it has a constant C, constant cost. Questions? Yay! Okay, so we do have a quiz on Monday over this stuff. Obviously, we'll practice more on Monday. Reminder, if you are missing chapter or unit 6 or 7, you need to come see me during Lion Time. If you need to retake those, you need to come see me during Lion Time. Okay? If you need to schedule some time after school or whatever, or we need to do it another time, you need to figure that out. I am not going to figure that out for you. All of that is done by the 15th. So next Friday, all retakes for 6 and 7 need to be done. Okay, so find some time next week so that we can get that knocked out. Okay. Right now, you're going to work on your Unit 7 project. Remember, it is due today by midnight. So if you haven't started on it, now's a great time to do that. Got about 25 minutes to do it. I will not be accepting late work. Not happening. What do you want? 0? Okay,